Hello, Chillify channel owner, I'm ready. I'd run out of the CEO's stuff to sell. Even though it was a May Day holiday, I still had to work overtime. Frustrated, I went online to vent. I meticulously listed every single item in the CEO's office, from his expensive leather sofa to the toothbrush he used. I declared that after work, I'd sell everything and use the money to hire 18 male models to relieve my stress. Who would have thought that video would go viral, and the most attention-grabbing comment would be from him? He wrote, "Is there something wrong with you? Or should I just sell myself too? Or do you have something difficult to say in your heart?" Currently, as the CEO's secretary, I'm standing outside the meeting room, holding a freshly brewed cup of coffee. His sarcastic tone was so loud even the soundproof door couldn't contain it. He spoke clearly, precisely, "What do I pay you people for? Honestly, did you write this plan with your feet? Take it to the market. Even housewives passing by would praise it profusely. Oh, it's so good. But this plan, I've read up to page 20 and still don't understand what you're writing. Can't the key points be expressed more clearly? With this level of articulation, I wouldn't even know who died at a funeral. A bunch of useless proteins, both stupid and clumsy, working like a chaotic mess without any shame, not even bothering to clean up before meeting me. Where did you leave your brains during evolution? And please, can you stop annoying me? Did I hire you to drive me crazy?" The entire meeting room fell silent. No one dared to utter a word. Hearing this, I knew my place and turned to leave. The boss was in a fit of rage, and I certainly didn't want to rush headlong into danger. He could forego his coffee, but I couldn't endure another scolding. I feigned a need to use the restroom. When I returned, the meeting room was empty. For now, I was safe. I quickly brewed another cup of coffee and headed towards his office. The office door was slightly ajar. Someone had already entered before me. It was Vivian Chin, the assistant secretary from the finance department, who got in through connections. She wore a tight-fitting dress that accentuated her curves, paired with 10-centimeter red-soled high heels, and her makeup was impeccable. Her voice was syrupy sweet. "Director Liu, here's your coffee." As she spoke, she leaned down, intending to place the coffee on his desk. The man behind the desk was tall and slender, with a handsome face and sharp eyebrows, exuding an inherent noble and refined aura. But at this moment, his eyes were frighteningly cold. "Who are you? Who allowed you to barge in here? Is this something you should be doing? Get out immediately." The smile on the woman's face instantly vanished. "Director Liu, I'm Vivian Chin, the new assistant secretary. Kiki Nam is currently busy, so she asked me to bring you coffee." How ridiculous. I myself knew nothing about it. He didn't even bother to lift his head, still absorbed in his documents. "Get out of here immediately. I don't want to repeat myself a second time." Vivian Chin took a deep breath. A moment later, as if her foot caught something, she stumbled, clutching the coffee cup, tottering forward. He remained still, his voice cold. "I advise you, before you spill it, think carefully. This suit I'm wearing costs 200,000 yuan. Can you afford to compensate me?" She panicked, but finally managed to regain her balance and stand steady. His gaze swept over her, from top to bottom, evaluating her. Suddenly, he sneered. "Dressed like this, what do you do for a living? Do you want to call the police to arrest me? I don't understand what the HR department was thinking hiring you. You lack even the most basic aesthetic sense." He continued, "Do you want to replace Kiki Nam's position? But your beauty is far inferior, and your ability isn't even 1,000th of hers." I couldn't help but smirk. He'd been scolding me for days, and finally this old man realized I was good. But I'd celebrated too soon. He added, "Of course, I don't mean to praise her, nor am I criticizing you. I'm just stating facts, like how Kiki Nam dresses even more unfashionably than my grandmother." The smile on Vivian Chin's face almost vanished. "Or are you aiming for the position of boss's wife?" His tone carried unconcealed mockery. "Don't dream illusory dreams about things that don't belong to you. Instead of fantasizing about turning into a phoenix overnight, I advise you to get checked for Parkinson's or epilepsy." It was true. Ethan Liu's harsh words were nothing new. She left, crying and clutching the coffee cup. As she passed the door, she didn't forget to shoot me a hateful glance. Immediately after, his icy voice rang out, "Kiki Nam, how long do you plan to stand outside the door? Are you trying to be a security guard?" I sighed and walked in. Trouble always found me. He slowly adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, his slender fingers lightly tapping the desk. Looking at his demeanor, I knew I was about to be scolded again. Kiki Nam, I pay you a seven-figure salary, not for you to stand there and watch a show. You should learn from the lampposts by the road, always clearly identifying your position. Be careful. My value is so high right now, if someone harms me, you'll have to go to jail in my place. For the sake of my salary, I gritted my teeth and endured. I had to adapt to the situation. If your myopia is too severe, the company can cover the cost of your eye surgery. I don't want anyone else useless coming near me. I was wearing blue light blocking glasses. Couldn't he see them? Just call me unfashionable directly. Furthermore, Kiki Nam, don't you usually look at yourself in the mirror? Dressing so shabbily greatly affects the company's image. If clients get scared and leave because of you, who will compensate me for the loss? I tried to force a smile. Your smile is worse than a grimace. It's best not to smile. Ethan Liu, please shut your mouth, can you? This mouth is getting more and more vicious. If it weren't for the generous salary you pay, I would have quit a long time ago. Calling it a salary sounds grand. In reality, it's money for me to swallow humiliation. As I stepped out of the office, Vivian Chin was carrying a large box of belongings packing up. She had been fired. The entire finance department was also implicated, enduring a furious scolding from the boss. The clatter of her high heels echoed. When she saw me, her eyes were filled with resentment. He finds me an eyesore, so he won't care about you either. Don't think I don't see through your intentions. Who knows what methods you used to climb to this position? You're not worthy of even shining his shoes. I smiled faintly, a completely different expression from the one I had worn in front of the boss. Excuse me, I graduated with a master's degree from Peking University. I got into this company through genuine ability. It's truly a difference. How can you compare to Ms. Chin, who graduated from an unknown school and used connections to get in? You usually cause me trouble. Today you even made me get scolded. And now you want to humiliate me. Do you think I'm a soft persimmon that anyone can knead as they please? You want to scold me without spending a dime? Dream on, lady. I was taller than her. I moved closer, backing her into a corner. Using men to climb in society. I dare not comment on that as I have no experience. Everyone has their own path. I wish you success. Have a pleasant day of unemployment. Ms. Chin couldn't out-argue me, nor could she fight me. What could she do now? She could only glare, choking with anger, her pent-up frustration finally partially released. Taking another step, I felt life open up so much more. Indeed, that afternoon, I was tilling the soil and tending to the boss's money plant. Holding a small trowel, I dug more and more engrossed. The office was quiet, not a soul in sight. My old bad habit resurfaced. I couldn't help but hum a couple of lines. Big, big company, dig, 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 high salary but still not enough to spend. Hateful boss keeps scolding, scolding, scolding. Suddenly, a small humph echoed from behind me. Ethan Liu was leaning against the doorframe. It was unclear how long he had been listening. The corner of his mouth was slightly upturned, his expression a half smile, half frown. Such a good singer, Kiki Nam. Are you trying to cut off your own path? I really did have a terrible singing voice, and to be caught red-handed while showing it off. My face flushed red with embarrassment. Do you want to switch careers and become a singer? If so, I'll report you to the police immediately. Ethan Liu, I beg you. The thing was, the day after the holiday, Ethan Liu had just returned from a business trip. Driver Zhao happened to request leave, so the boss told me to pick him up from the hotel. The crowd was dense. I searched and searched but couldn't find any sign of him. Finally, I had to call him. Boss, where are you? His deep, cold voice came from the other end, right in front of you. I was skeptical, so I nudged the car forward a bit. Still can't see you. Maybe you could wave, boss? His voice sounded like he was gritting his teeth. Kiki Nam, I've been waving until my arm is sore. I've waved at over a dozen taxis already. I gasped in alarm. No, I really don't see you. He chuckled faintly. You drove past me. When he finally got into the car, I forced a smile, trying to hide my embarrassment. Ethan Liu sat in the passenger seat, arms crossed, glancing at me meaningfully. Do you have 2 chicken eggs glued to your eyes? All you do is blink, you don't see anything. At that moment, I wished I could poison him to shut him up. He continued, go home and pack your bags tonight. You're coming with me on a business trip tomorrow. What? My hands almost slipped off the steering wheel. I thought he had forgotten about this. Boss, tomorrow is May Day holiday. He replied nonchalantly, I know. Was he joking with me? Tomorrow I had a dinner date with a handsome guy. I'm the type of person who, besides loving money, also adores handsome men. He called me Nuna the moment he opened his mouth. How could I bear to stand him up? I tried to persuade him. Boss, can I not go? He looked at me, gently but cruelly enunciating each word. No, unless you don't want to work here anymore. Revenge? This was definitely revenge. That petty, vindictive little mind of his. I was so angry I drove like a maniac. Even though I made all kinds of faces on the way, he ignored it all as if he saw nothing. Arriving at the company gate, he still refused to get out of the car. His brows were furrowed, his face alternately pale and green. Oh no, I completely forgot the boss gets carsick. He spoke up, his voice sounding very reluctant. Kiki Nam, it was only a 15-minute drive. You overtook 10 cars, swerved 8 times, and cursed at other drivers 6 times. Do you have a neurological problem? At least you should think about the people around you. Sitting next to you in the passenger seat is like hanging by a thread. I advise you it's best not to drive anymore. I advised him it was best to shut up. Back at the company, I started preparing the necessary documents for tomorrow's business trip. Just then, my handsome date texted me. He asked what time I was leaving tomorrow so he could pick me up. Feeling guilty, I replied, I'm sorry, my boss has me going on a business trip. Let's reschedule for another time. There was silence for a moment, then a cheerful reply quickly came back. It's okay, you can go whenever you're free. Remember to take care of yourself on your business trip and have a safe journey. Oh, he's so sweet and gentle. I almost burst into tears. Looking at the stack of documents in my hands, the more I organized them, the more irritated I felt. Since the boss wasn't here, I took out my phone and filmed a video to vent my anger. I pointed at each object in his office one by one. From the umbrella he often used, the bowl he ate from, to the handmade rug under his feet. Then, from the real leather sofa he always sat on to the toothbrush holder in the bathroom. I wrote the caption, selling everything after work, using the money to hire 18 male models. After filming, I immediately posted the video on social media. That night, before going to bed, I habitually opened the app to check. Notifications showed 99+. Beyond my wildest predictions, my video had indeed gone viral. The most liked comment was, "Is something wrong with you? Why don't you just sell me too? Or are you still attached?" This tone sounded so familiar it startled me. The crowd below erupted in laughter. Welcome to the scene of the accident. Haha, first time I've seen someone caught red-handed by their boss for being too playful. Author, tomorrow you'll be fired for stepping into the company with your left foot. This office is really rich. I'll buy it for 9,999 yuan, no kidding. Boss, is this office yours that you're trying to sell the boss? You'd better watch out carefully at night. This boss really cares about you. He even asked if you were sick. You're truly a talent. I'm following you immediately. Who would sell an old toothbrush? Is that really necessary? The bristles are all messed up. I suggest you ship it straight to me. I looked at my account name again. My boss is a petty fool. Suddenly, I had a bad feeling. No way, it couldn't be such a coincidence. I remembered the boss didn't even use this app. When I found the trending personal page, there was nothing special. I only saw the IP address matched my city, which somewhat reassured me. Who knew the unexpected would happen immediately after? A message notification from my contacts appeared. Boss messaged, Kiki Nam, tomorrow when you come to the company, remember to tell me the meaning of your account name, okay? Or should I just explain the reason why you haven't sold me yet? That way, I can proudly say I've already been sold. The most important thing now was to figure out which foot to step into the company with tomorrow to minimize the chance of being fired. As everyone has seen, my boss has an incredibly hateful mouth. So hateful that even passing dogs get caught in the crossfire. He is the CEO of Lu Corporation, the sole heir of the Lu family. Besides having an attractive appearance, a perfect physique, and the ability to choose where to be reborn, he has no other advantages. The media in Jiangcheng used a few words to describe him. A thug in the business world, hard to guard against the competitive methods of others. Brutal and contemptuous of the law, Ethan Lu's competitive methods are brazen and shameless. When an employee of Song Group made a mistake, offending a client, the incident quickly became a hot topic. Lu Corporation seized a great opportunity. Ethan Lu immediately used the official account to post 3 consecutive articles, adding fuel to the fire. Instead of helping people in their time of difficulty, he kicked them while they were down. What's wrong, Mr. Song? The customer is king, isn't he? Oh, thank you, CEO Song, for bestowing boundless blessings, truly worthy of worship. Seeing half the netizens cursing, I was heartbroken. Where's the other half? Don't they have keyboards? CEO Song was so angry he blocked his account. In short, he didn't break the law, but he was utterly unethical. I could be his secretary, probably because we were cut from the same cloth. My ethics were subjectively flexible, while his salary was objectively regular. To exercise subjectivity, one must first comply with objectivity. Should I refuse money for the sake of ethics? To be blunt, it's the same old phrase, he paid too much. You could take that question to an ethics committee for officials, but I'm out. So, our combination is like him opening the door and letting the dog out, and I am the dog. He was famous not only for his looks, but also for his venomous mouth and vindictive nature. Previously, Lu Group intentionally lowered prices and snatched business from Lu Corporation. Later, both sides bid for a plot of land in the western part of the city. With two buildings facing each other, Ethan Lu deliberately bought a super large mirror and aimed it directly at the opposing building, claiming it was for straightening clothes. After a month of reflecting, there was still no noticeable improvement in the scruffy appearance. So, he ordered me to pretend to be a cleaner and infiltrate Lu Group to water the money plant of CEO Lu to death. I heard that CEO Lu, being superstitious, cried like a child that day. The next day, he invited clients to dinner. Under Ethan Lu's cover, I snuck into the kitchen and swapped all 12 savory dishes for 12 dishes of yellow flowers. As a result, the contract fell through. CEO Lu regretfully retreated. Being old and frail, he cared about his health, so he cycled to work. I secretly deflated his tires. Ethan Lu then casually drove by, coincidentally met him, and kindly drove him home, leaving CEO Lu utterly flustered. He couldn't scold him, couldn't thank him, still confused, not understanding Ethan's trick. When he got home, his wife slapped him for having lipstick marks on his shirt. CEO Lu finally realized, filled with deep regret but unable to explain. Failing in business, losing miserably in love. After CEO Lu was thoroughly dealt with, Ethan Lu shifted his target to young Master Lu. Young Master Lu hadn't graduated from university yet and wasn't interested in family business. He was forced to come to the company every day to clock in, playing games while working or watching movies. Ethan Lu bribed his office secretary. If young Master Lu watched movies, unplug the internet. If he played games, hide the charger. In less than 2 weeks, young Master Lu was thoroughly scolded by his teammates, his rank dropping 3 tiers. I thought he would suspect something, but instead, he defiantly went to his father. I told you this position has bad feng shui, even plants can't survive here, but you didn't believe me. So, he legitimately went online to play games. I then legitimately arranged for a beautiful girl to get acquainted with him. Immediately after, Ethan Lu legitimately called CEO Lu to complain that his son wasn't focused on work. That night, young Master Lu was severely reprimanded by both parents. The next day, he went crying to his grandfather. As a result, using physical means, Lu Corporation won the bid. Ethan Lu played "Good Luck Comes Nonstop" in front of the company gate. As his trusted secretary, the moment he wiggled his hips, I knew what was coming. I quietly unfurled a banner. Lu Corporation, solid as a rock. Lu Group, danger lurking. The lively music and glaring red banner infuriated CEO Lu to the point of nearly going crazy. He pointed at Ethan Lu's face and cursed, "You little turtle, I carried you several times when you were little. You truly have a venomous heart." Ethan Lu raised an eyebrow, seriously replying, "Uncle Lu, good words bring good karma, bad words hurt each other. Next time, don't say such divisive things." To speak positively, I am currently Ethan Lu's most compatible secretary. He can't find anyone as petty, as talented as me. To speak negatively, I've been playing the role of a turtle in front of him for half a year. I did whatever he said, and today I've been completely exposed. It's a pity it's not just about today. The crucial point is that in high school, I was once enemies with him, like fire and water. After exams, I even played a really painful prank on him. At that time, I never imagined that 6 years later, I would become the secretary for my sworn enemy. After graduating with a master's degree, I once worked for a large company. Who knew the department head would harass me? I was so angry I punched him, sending him to the hospital for 2 months. Unfortunately, he was the chairman's brother-in-law, and as a result, I was fired and blacklisted in the industry. Just when I was unemployed, Ethan Lu appeared. Not only did he not bring up old scores, but he also offered me an exorbitantly high salary. He didn't hold grudges, he only valued talent. He truly was a good person. To keep him a good person, I decided to continue acting well-behaved. Who knew I'd show my true colors today? It was truly a bad move. He's also the type to hold grudges. If he combines new grudges with old ones, just thinking about it is terrifying. I'm going to sleep now. Good night, this chaotic world. 9:00 a.m. The boss's car stopped in front of my apartment building. Ethan Lou sat in the back seat, long legs crossed, face tilted, features delicate yet cold. I was debating which foot to step into the car with to get scolded less. He lazily opened his eyelids and glanced over. What's wrong? Want to sell my car too? No, I wouldn't dare. I shook my head vigorously. Then why aren't you getting in? Do you want me to invite you? Perhaps because I didn't sleep well last night, my brain short-circuited. I unconsciously asked, Boss, how should I get in? Left foot first or right? He irritably scoffed, so I very obediently jumped in. As a result, I accidentally used the same force as when I competed in long jump in school. I couldn't brake in time, he couldn't dodge in time. My body fell forward uncontrollably, catching him off guard. A soft, oof sound. In my ear was his deep, husky groan. My chest hit the car door, my forehead collided with his chin, and my hands instinctively sought something to brace myself, my palms touching something firm. Beneath my hands, his clear heartbeat throbbed. The distance was incredibly close. His warm breath brushed the top of my head, and my waist was tightly gripped by his large hand. His eyes were as deep as ink, dark and dangerous. I looked up, my gaze unconsciously lingering on his thin, reddish lips in front of me, then sliding down to his moving Adam's apple. The atmosphere suddenly became strange, until a very faint breath from the driver's seat broke the frozen silence. I sprang up from him like a released spring, clasping my hands together in front of my forehead, my voice sincere. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Ethan Lou slowly stood up, slightly shrugging his shoulder, saying nothing. The tips of his ears were slightly flushed, but very faintly, hard to notice. After a moment, Humph, you did it on purpose. In the driver's seat, Zhao turned his head, eyes bright as if enjoying some juicy gossip, but Vivian Chin's scolding from the other day still echoed in my head. I quickly raised my hand to swear my innocence. I swear I absolutely had no malicious intentions whatsoever. If I did, I would never be able to. My oath was cut short. Ethan Lou took a deep breath, raising a hand to rub his temple. I quietly added, be beautiful for the rest of my life. His face immediately darkened as he looked forward. What kind of driving is that? It's so shaky it makes me dizzy. Zhao opened his mouth but dared not speak. Wait, the car hasn't even started yet. He silenced everyone. The good news was that last night's incident was over. The bad news was that the boss's mood was starting to become erratic again. I obediently kept quiet. The atmosphere in the car was terrifyingly silent. I suddenly remembered that I had raised 4 fingers when swearing. In this world, there are no eternal friends, no eternal enemies, only unchanging interests. This business trip was to negotiate an investment with the Liu family. More than half of the business dealings in the corporate world are discussed over meals. The door to the private room opened. Inside was a young man in a black t-shirt, casually playing a game with his feet propped up. Ethan Lou frowned. Why is it you? Hearing the sound, he put down his phone, turned around, his short silver-gray hair making his bright face even more attractive. Hands behind his head, a lazy posture. No choice, my dad doesn't want to meet you. His eyes swept backward, landing directly on me, his gaze sparkling like crystal. Nuna, surprise. Seeing his face clearly, I took 2 steps back. It would be more accurate to say I was horrified. I never would have imagined that the person who called me Nuna all day was the young master of the Liu family. That day, I wore a cleaner's uniform and snuck into CEO Liu's office. It was lunchtime, and there wasn't a soul inside. I carried a watering can and aimed directly at the base of the money plant to water it. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from behind the desk. A messy-haired young man, hair like a bird's nest, stood up from behind the desk, his eyes still heavy with sleep. He stood frozen, staring at me. I was so scared I stood motionless. I'm the company cleaner, just watering the plants. He suddenly smiled, his lips curving. Don't panic, I'm an intern hiding here to be lazy. He handed me a thermos of hot water from the table and whispered, use this to water it, it's guaranteed to die immediately. Our eyes met, and I saw a strange understanding in them. I secretly thought, handsome and kind, truly rare. Afterward, he asked for my contact information, and I, being attracted to handsome men, agreed. Every day it was "Nuna this, Nuna that," chattering nonstop. He asked me out to eat a few times, but each time I had to cancel due to unexpected work. Later, even though I conspired with the boss to torment young Master Lu, I never met him face to face. Who knew he would turn out to be him? Thinking back, he truly was filial, completely siding with an outsider. Kevin Liu enthusiastically pulled me to sit in the empty seat between him and Ethan Liu, stuffing a menu into my hands. "Nuna, just choose whatever you want to eat." He completely ignored the third person. It looked exactly like a two-person date. Ethan Liu's eyes were full of meaning, darting back and forth between us, lingering for a moment on Kevin Liu's silver hair. The corner of his mouth curved into a thin smile. Truly a sheep farting, both wasteful and irritating. Just then, the dishes were served. Kevin Liu subtly pushed a plate of stir-fried beef with herbs towards me. Suddenly, a cold voice came from my left. "Kiki, you're so picky. You're already ugly and your mouth is even pickier." The young man angrily clenched his fist, then seemed to remember something. He glanced at Ethan Liu, raised an eyebrow. "Nuna, he treats me like this, but does he also treat you so fiercely normally? Why don't you say anything? Don't tell me it's true." Girls at 30 are like blooming flowers, men at 30 are like old melons. Director Liu is 26 this year, right? Tusk tusk. I begged him to stop talking. Couldn't he see my boss's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot? To break the atmosphere, I hurriedly picked up a chicken drumstick with my chopsticks and put it in Kevin Liu's bowl. "Eat, eat." The young man immediately fell silent, flashing a bright smile with dimples on both cheeks. "I'll listen to whatever Nuna says." "Kiki Nam, don't forget whose person you are." Seeing Ethan Liu's face grow darker, I quickly poured him a glass of water. "Boss, drink some water to calm your anger." Kevin Liu chewed on the drumstick, muttering, "Petty person drinks cold water. Secretary, she's my senior." It seemed young Master Liu was indeed still studying at Peking University. The atmosphere suddenly grew heavy. I couldn't take it anymore. "Why don't you two just fight?" Ethan Liu lightly pushed his chin with his tongue, appearing too angry to remain calm. His behavior was a bit childish. "So you like to show off your connections? Why don't you just say the whole world is your family? Such a big university, do you even meet once a month? And senior. Did you ever ask who she sat with for 2 years in high school? If it weren't for a certain incident, you'd be calling me senior right now." Both pairs of eyes simultaneously turned towards me. Gods fighting, little demons suffer. I avoided their gaze, trying to appear calm, and lowered my head to gnaw on a piece of watermelon. "Haha, this watermelon is really sweet." Ethan Liu and I knew each other from the first semester of 11th grade. At that time, he had just transferred from abroad. A true rich young master, noble, cold, taking everything for granted, not even bothering to care about the top spot in the entire grade, which I always valued most. I always knew there were many people out there living better lives than me. No one was forced to go through what I had. But his appearance made me realize that the gap between people wasn't just a deep chasm, but could also be a high mountain, impossible to ever cross. I was born into a family with some education. Both my parents were university students. They had received proper schooling, but couldn't shed their old-fashioned and backward ways of thinking. The day I was born, the waiting room was full of people. Hearing the doctor say it was a girl, my mother, before fainting, said, "What a curse." My father forced a smile, handing out cigarettes to guests, saying this time they wouldn't have a party, they'd make it up next time. My grandmother in the countryside slammed her thigh and cursed, saying my father married an unlucky woman who gave birth to something worthless. So, when I was 6 months old, my mother became pregnant with my younger brother. The whole family immediately shed their gloom, beaming with joy. When my younger brother was born, everyone vied to hold him. No one remembered the baby girl lying hungry in a corner all day. Survival instinct made me cry desperately. My mother said it was probably because I saw my brother being doted on more, so I was jealous and deliberately cried for attention. A girl who's been jealous since childhood. Later, I grew up haphazardly, but I still didn't understand. I didn't understand why my younger brother ate 3 fried eggs for breakfast, while I didn't get even one. While my teacher said eggs were great for development, my father said girls didn't need that much nutrition. I didn't understand why my younger brother went to an expensive private school, while I had to attend public school, flipping through books until the covers were worn to get a scholarship to cover tuition fees. I didn't understand why. When my younger brother cried and refused to go to extracurricular classes, my parents coaxed him. But when I said if he didn't want to go, I could go instead, I was scolded for being young yet malicious. I didn't understand why my younger brother never entered the kitchen, never washed dishes, while I had to wake up early every morning, year-round with my hands in cold water, washing piles of greasy dishes and doing loads of dirty laundry for the whole family. I didn't understand why, when I studied late into the night, no one asked after me, no glass of milk was brought, only scoldings that I was wasting electricity and household money. I didn't understand why, just because I was the older sister, all good things had to be yielded to my brother. If he needed help with homework, I had to do it. If he hit me, I couldn't hit back. I didn't understand why my younger brother was picked up and dropped off every day while I had to trudge home alone. There was too much I didn't understand, so I started asking questions. In junior high, the school was quite far from home. I didn't want to waste time commuting anymore. I asked my father if he could drive me to school like he did my brother. Because they feared my brother would be tired, they sent him to boarding school, while I only needed to go home once a week for my dormitory. My father said nothing. I thought he agreed. Monday morning, before 5:00 a.m., my mother woke me with a feather duster handle. She sneered, "Didn't you want your father to take you to school?" I silently got into the car. The sky outside the window was pitch black, like a monster quietly lurking. On the way, my father continuously cursed me, asking why I didn't just die, his eyes filled with such hatred he looked like he wanted to swallow me whole. The 15-minute drive was filled with the most vicious words I had ever heard, from the mouth of my own father. I arrived too early, the school gate wasn't open. Leaning against the iron fence, I sat quietly for 2 hours. It was very cold, very dark. I watched the sun slowly rise from the east, its light spreading across the sky. From that moment on, I held within me a simmering, unceasing power. It helped me wake up 2 hours early every day, walk 6 miles to school. 9268 steps, I walked for 3 years. Unlike my brother, who never had to worry about money, I had no pocket money. I was so poor that all I had left was my small, worthless self-esteem. I had opened my mouth to ask, but my parents were cultured people. Not only did they refuse, but they also used sharp words to crush my self-esteem. At an age when my brother was still carefree, I had to find every way to earn money. Collecting empty bottles, doing homework for others, distributing flyers. Before exams, I sold correction fluid. After exams, I sold 3-color pens. Sometimes I even got beaten. They said I went out and shamed them. The turning point came during the summer vacation after junior high graduation. The family of 3 went on a trip, argued on the road due to disagreements. My younger brother grabbed the steering wheel. Finally, they drove against traffic on the highway and crashed into a truck. Both cars flipped. None of the 5 people survived. My first reaction, on August 3rd, when I heard the news, was regret. I regretted it for the young, newlywed couple in the truck. The funeral was hastily arranged. My grandmother rushed from the countryside to fight for the assets and compensation money. She originally didn't intend to leave me a single penny. I grabbed a machete, threw a tantrum, and was even fiercer than her. I spread rumors everywhere that the Jai family parents abused their daughter and that the old woman wanted to seize all the assets. She had many descendants, and while I didn't care about my reputation, they did. In the end, I received 20,000 yuan and a dilapidated old house. The valuable assets inside had already been cleared out by my grandmother. Though not much, I finally got to fight for myself once. I even changed my name from Jai Jayati, meaning attracting a younger brother, to Kiki Nam. Nam means male, showing independence from my family's desire for a son. I was no longer a daughter born only to make way for a son. I was myself. Number 1 High School, a prestigious and long-standing institution, never lacked talented students. Even though my entrance exam scores were very high, I didn't receive any special tuition waivers. However, from 10th to 11th grade, I always held the top rank in the entire school. The monthly scholarship never left my grasp. Considering my circumstances, the school allowed me to be a boarding student. I was busy every day. Early in the morning, I earned money by bringing breakfast to students in the dormitory. At noon, I offered paid tutoring. In the afternoon, I took my notes to a printing shop, printed them, and sold them. In the evening, I worked part-time at a convenience store. Besides that, I also participated in several academic competitions. The money I earned was just enough to maintain my life. I didn't have many friends because I didn't have time for gossip. I also didn't value so-called school friendships. Everything I did for others had a clear price list. My face always clearly showed, short on money, obsessed with money. I always exuded a pragmatic aura. So, when Ethan Liu, the transfer student, unexpectedly snatched the top position, those people got an opportunity to watch me struggle and gloat. At that time, I didn't know Ethan Liu, and I didn't feel much inside at most, a sense of regret for losing 500 yuan while also telling myself to work harder. When I finished looking at the scoreboard and entered the classroom, everyone was gathered around Ethan Liu, praising his brilliance, overjoyed that they had finally pulled me down. Finally, someone changed the number 1 position. I'm looking forward to Kiki Nam's expression. Your scholarship just dropped out of your mouth. It seems the scholarship was born just for her, no one else has ever touched it. Usually so arrogant, but now she's hit a wall. The young man leaned back in his chair, a hint of impatience in his eyebrows. Is being number 1 that hard? Why are you all so excited as if you've never held it before? Is 500 yuan that much? It's not even enough for me to buy a pair of socks. The whole group, whose mouths were always gossiping, remained silent, not daring to retort. Losing face here naturally meant finding somewhere else to regain it. And at that age of puberty, vanity was as vast as the sky. Words easily carried malice, sometimes unintentional, sometimes deliberate. 500 yuan is nothing to us, but to Kiki Nam, it's a fortune, isn't it? Ha ha ha, she wears discounted shoes. I wonder where she buys those 30 or 40 yuan shoes that she can even wear them, haha. Oh, it seems she only has 2 pairs of shoes. Never sees her change them, maybe she doesn't even bother to clean her shoes. I had heard worse things before. Compared to that, this was light. I calmly spoke. So concerned about me? Are you planning to donate to me? Weaknesses can sometimes become the strongest counterweapons. If you keep suffering over circumstances you can't change, it only darkens your heart. Immediately, the whole group fell silent, faces full of guilt. They mocked me for being poor, but no one helped me stop being poor. So whether I'm poor or not, what does it have to do with any of you? Radiant people always attract attention, handsome, smart, from a good family, and a transfer student. All these labels were enough to make Ethan Liu the center of after-school gossip. People said he wore a different outfit every day, no 2 pairs of shoes were the same, and they were shockingly expensive. People said he didn't study seriously, but still got high scores because he was gifted, while I, Kiki Nam, could only rely on diligence. People said he didn't belong to the world of the masses. To highlight one person, you always needed another as a backdrop. I was the backdrop they used to compare with Ethan Liu. A world apart, one rustic, one refined. I never touched anyone, but they died because of me. It had nothing to do with him, yet the sarcastic remarks came because of him. So, it was very difficult for me to see him with an unbiased eye. Especially after the monthly exam, the homeroom teacher discovered he was good at English but weak in Chinese literature, while I was the opposite. As a result, he and I were paired up to sit together. In English class, the teacher asked us to take turns reading a text aloud. The usually strict teacher praised him endlessly. As for me, I only got a concluding remark, "Your Chinese accent needs more effort." If he showed a bit of happiness, I might have felt better. But he maintained an indifferent attitude. It was precisely that nonchalant attitude that made me feel all my efforts suddenly vanished. What I worked so hard to pursue was something he could easily have, not even bothering to pay attention to it. Because I loved money, I always found rich people cute, but now I only found him hateful. I hated people who showed off the most. He talked to me, I didn't reply. He asked about homework, I didn't speak. He complained that my English pronunciation sounded like an alien. I retorted that his Chinese literature was taught by a gym teacher using his feet. Knowing his weakness in Chinese literature, I would constantly come up with proverbs to insult him. I think you're the queen mother of the West when she's on her period. Nerves push the millstone, spinning round and round. Shameless like a goat passing gas. Ridiculous and overly dramatic. He was so angry his lips pressed tightly together, looking like a pufferfish. The next day, his eyes were dark and swollen. He must have been studying proverbs all night, arrogant like fighting roosters. You're a turtle looking in a mirror, look at your turtle face. Oh, a painting falling into a urinal, both yellow and smelly and sour. You're an old turtle making soup, full of bad intentions. I said he was a show-off. He said I was fake. We both found each other annoying. Occasionally, one of us would take the top spot in exams. But I noticed that every time he took an exam, he used the same pen. Before starting the test, he would clasp his hands and mumble as if praying. I suspected he was praying to a deity for help. Rich people often have strange quirks. I was afraid he'd hired a little ghost. To be fair, before the next exam, I bought 2 identical pens, one for him and one for me. After swapping the pens, he immediately showed his true colors. The history teacher walked into the classroom with a stack of exam papers, his eyes deep as he looked towards us, clearly at him. The 2 lowest scores in the entire grade are both in our class. Ethan Liu, 25 points. The classroom was silent. A 25 out of 125 was truly a disaster. The called-out student looked stunned, unable to believe it. The teacher handed him the paper, his voice gloomy. "You really are a treacherous scoundrel." I couldn't help but burst out laughing. The teacher turned to look at me. "What are you laughing at? You two are cut from the same cloth. You got 20. He's a traitor, you're an invader." The entire class, including Ethan Liu, held their stomachs, shaking with laughter. So the smile hadn't disappeared, it had just shifted. Holding the exam paper in my hand, I realized that the essay portion was as blank as my unmade-up face. His paper was the same. We both turned to look at each other, then immediately checked our pencil cases. The pen clearly stated, "Erasable ink." Since this wasn't essential, I told the shop owner to sell me the cheapest kind. Truly, cheap things are rarely good. On a 100-point scale, the essay portion was 75 points, multiple choice 25. Multiple choice was scanned by machine, so it was filled in with a 2B pencil, no black pen needed. In other words, he got all the multiple choice questions right. I got one wrong. "So, you changed my pen." Knowing I was at fault, I honestly confessed. His face gradually stiffened, slowly looking up at me. "Kiki Nam, are you sick? I was praying to Athena." "Athena, the goddess of wisdom." "Oh, really? Well, to be fair, next exam I'll pray to Confucius." From then on, I truly realized how petty and vindictive he was. Sleeping late at night, and still having to buy breakfast for friends in the dormitory in the morning, I was often late for school. To avoid getting points deducted during morning self-study, I had to secretly climb over the school wall. A name like his, who never came to school early, volunteered for the student council's disciplinary committee. Every morning, he would wake up early and hide behind the wall to catch me. As a result, my name continuously appeared on the violation board for an entire month. My conduct score was reduced by more than half, and conduct scores were related to being considered a 3 good student at the end of the semester. That 3 good title came with a reward of 1,000 yuan. I could tolerate losing points, but touching my money was unacceptable. So during physical education class, I deliberately reported low scores for his performance. Surrounded by people, I intentionally spoke loudly. High jump, 1.3 meters. Long jump, 1.6 meters. 50-meter dash, 9.8 seconds. 800 meters, 5 minutes. I took a deep breath and shouted his height at the top of my lungs, 179 centimeters. He finally couldn't take it anymore and yelled, "You're lying." "I'm clearly 1.85 meters. I feigned alarm. All right, whatever Ethan says goes." His facial muscles twitched, trembling with anger. I blinked and chuckled softly. Blocking someone's path to making money is like killing their father. If I can't take you down, then I'm not me anymore. By the night of the end-of-year show, the teacher required each class to prepare an act. I knew he couldn't dance, he knew I couldn't sing. Yet both our names appeared on the performance list. Me, a solo singer, him, a backup dancer. We had literally shot ourselves in the foot, both our faces looked terrible. The chosen song was Puppet Strings, a classical-style piece, delicate and graceful. My face flushed as I went to see the teacher. "Teacher, can I not go on stage? I really can't sing." The elderly teacher patted my shoulder. "This child, why are you being so modest?" Then, when Ethan Liu and I actually stepped onto the stage, the teacher understood. I wasn't being modest, I was accurately describing my abilities. Not only did I sing off-key, but I also transformed Puppet Strings into a heroic anthem. And Ethan Liu, in the middle of his dance, somehow ended up fighting with himself. The audience roared with laughter. The teacher remained silent for a long time, finally concluding, "Student Kiki, your voice is strong, your projection loud. Your body is very healthy, very good. Student Liu, you certainly don't lack calcium. Your bones are strong, you stand very steadily. Both of you have academic potential." All our dignity and reputation were lost. A rush of heat went straight to my forehead. I didn't even need a mirror to know my face was as red as a tomato. I tilted my head and saw Ethan Lou glaring at me, his earlobes bright red. I thought the war would continue. Unexpectedly, after that, the homeroom teacher called me to the office to discuss the latest poverty student subsidy. A few days later, my application form for aid was deliberately photocopied and passed around the class. Although the person responsible was disciplined by the school, every word of that form was read by the entire class. Every sentence and every word on it was my most heartfelt self-narration. Things that were once vague were now exposed. Their gazes were full of pity, surprise, and even apprehension. From then on, rumors gradually spread that I was born unlucky, that my parents and younger brother died because of me. Anyone close to me would encounter misfortune. They proclaimed themselves righteous, advising Ethan Lou not to sit with me anymore. I thought he would seize this opportunity to step on me further. Who knew he wouldn't even lift an eyelid, coolly sneering? Have you seen people with bound feet, but has anyone seen people with bound brains? It's fine to have an empty head, as long as you don't pour water into it. If you don't study well, you can relearn. Ugliness can be fixed, but a wicked heart is beyond redemption. Your mouth is like smeared toilet honey. Your words are more poisonous than 10 old neighborhood grannies combined. The self-proclaimed righteous group turned red with anger, retreating without daring to utter a word. The sunlight slanted through the window, illuminating his back, straight as a pine tree, his bangs slightly falling, casting shadows over his dark eyes. He tilted his head, looking at me, a cold smile. When you scold me, you're so fierce, but when it's them, you're as silent as a clam. Student Kiki, you're really biased. I honestly replied, they're my clients. He had no expression, pulled 10 red banknotes from his pocket, and placed them on the table. I order you to scold them back next time. If you do it well, there will be a bonus at the end of the month. All the students in the class were stingy. I worked hard all semester for them and still couldn't even make 1,000 yuan. In less than 2 seconds, I made my decision. Quick as lightning, I snatched the money, my smile clearly fawning. Boss, you can be at odds with anyone, but absolutely never with money. CEO, what if I really bring you bad luck? Money is money, business is business, let's keep them separate, okay? Shut up. I have money, so from now on, I'll wear green every day. At 9:00 p.m. after school, I packed my bag, intending to take a shortcut to the convenience store for my part-time job. In the classroom, a few female students were discussing. Hey, did you hear? There's a pervert near our area, a guy who specializes in showing off. He's made many girls cry out in fear. I heard he's on that remote street. Let's take the main road tonight, I'm scared. My hand paused midair. Ethan Lou picked up his bag, then sat back down. He casually asked, which street do you live on? Remote street. If I want to go to work, I also have to pass that street. Even if I'm not going to work, aren't I going home, or maybe don't take that road anymore? No, I'll still take that road. Seeing I was about to be late, I slung on my bag and ran out. Behind me, his voice faded. Kiki Nam, come back, I'll take you there. Not taking that road meant a long detour, which would take an hour. My shift started at 9:15. Being late meant losing half my salary. Why should I avoid it? I had to take that road. Even if there was a pervert blocking my path to making money, I'd make him a dead pervert. The dark alley corner. A few meters away, a man in a disheveled suit blocked the way. As I got closer, he laughed wildly and strangely. Damn it, there really is a pervert? I flung my bag to the ground, rolled up my sleeves, and charged forward instead of backing down. Why was I poor? Because half my money went into self-defense lessons. Only I could protect myself. It was true then, and it would be true in the future. My coach even said I had good potential, tall, strong, and a quick learner. On May 1st, I delivered a kick straight to his heart, kicking him until he couldn't even scream, aiming right for the painful spots. I kicked him until he cried out for his parents, and they couldn't save him. I pulled back my leg and turned to look for my bag. I only saw the young man in a white shirt and black pants leaning silently against the wall, holding my bag, a brick in his right hand. Seeing me turn back, he instinctively threw the brick away. I didn't see anything. After a while, he quietly added, "Really?" At the police station, Ethan Lou's face remained unchanged. "Officer, I'm telling the truth. I saw the pervert trying to molest her, and then my friend Kiki let out a thunderous roar. He was so scared he smashed his head into the wall himself." I blinked and nodded innocently. The female officer next to us gave us each a cup of warm water and smiled. All right, you two acted in self-defense, and you did very well, don't be scared. That pervert is a repeat offender. Leaving the station, not only was I fine, but I also received a 500 yuan reward. As for my part-time job, I explained everything to my boss, who even comforted me, telling me to go home and rest, and that I would still be paid for that night as usual. Money truly was a tranquilizer. At that moment, everyone looked cute to me. Thinking about how Ethan Liu had just defended me, I immediately patted his shoulder, acting like sworn brothers. Boss, I'll treat you to a late-night snack. What do you want to eat? He tilted his head, the corner of his lips slightly curved. Spicy skewers. Oh, a rich young master now knows how to live a normal life. I love spicy skewers the most too. Let's go eat skewers. At the skewer place, he asked for lots of chili. I told him not to be reckless. He stubbornly argued, saying that's how it should be. As a result, his lips swelled up like sausages, his face turned pale, and he went to the toilet 3 times in a row. Indeed, with money, you can command even ghosts. From that day on, we considered ourselves reconciled. He no longer woke up early to hide behind the wall and spy on me. I tutored him in Chinese literature, and he tutored me in English, even recommending a high-paying tutoring job for me. I could earn 500 yuan on weekend days. I formally apologized for being blind and not recognizing a god of wealth before. He wasn't a show-off, he was my god of wealth. On the last day of the National Day holiday, I was at home doing homework. Bubbles barked wildly outside the door. Bubbles was my dog, small but extremely fierce. I opened the door to look. Ethan Liu stood outside, leading a huge golden retriever, his head held high, an expression of triumph clearly visible between his eyebrows. How's my dog? Tall and big, shiny golden fur, elegant yet full of vitality. One look and you know it's top-notch. It's good, but I have a dog too. I turned back into the house and called loudly, Bubbles! A small ball of fluff, the size of a tennis ball, immediately darted out excitedly, running around my legs in agitation. Ethan Liu froze, seemingly surprised that I also had a dog. Immediately after, he regained his usual composure, pointing at Bubbles dismissively. Your dog is so tiny, it's useless. Not as good as mine, which is both handsome and can protect its owner. Listening to him, I understood. He came to show off his dog. I couldn't even tell what breed it was, probably a mixed breed. I bent down and patted Bubbles' head. Deal with him, boy, he says you're a mutt. No sooner had I finished speaking than the small black blur shot forward like an arrow, barking fiercely. The golden retriever's eyes widened, yelping as it retreated. The young man's face turned pale. He ran while shouting, Brother, I didn't scold you. I said you're a good mixed breed. Bubbles didn't bite people, but he was terrifyingly intimidating. I ate watermelon and watched the chaos. Finally, Ethan Liu yelled, Brother, until his throat was dry, and only then did Bubbles stop, lying spread out on my lap like a big boss, too tired to breathe. Ethan Liu sat on the ground, panting. Kiki Nam, you did that on purpose. Who told you to come here to show off your wealth? The corner of his mouth twitched. He was trembling with anger. Who's showing off what? I came here to give you a dog. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I quickly stood up, stuffing the half-eaten watermelon into his hand. Please sit, have some watermelon. He snorted coldly. Doers of good deeds are often butchers. Only scholars are truly cunning and malicious. Without ceremony, he stood up, sat down on my small plastic chair, and took 2 big bites of watermelon. Just a second later, as if suddenly remembering something, he froze, looking like he wanted to bury his head in the watermelon. From his earlobes, a faint blush spread, turning bright red all the way to his nape. He pulled a brocade sachet, an amulet from his pocket, and pressed it into my hand. Happy birthday! Then he clutched the rest of the watermelon and ran away as if his feet were greased. I stood frozen, watching his retreating figure until he disappeared. A long time later, I rubbed my eyes. The wind today was too strong, sand got into my eyes. But the more I rubbed, the more my eyes stung. On the application for aid that everyone made fun of, only he had quietly noticed the birth date. It turned out that even without blood ties, someone was willing to go to great lengths just to wish me peace and safety. I thought no one remembered anymore. The day college entrance exam results came out, he and I were both ranked 8th in the province. We returned to school to complete our paperwork. On the way, I bought a bouquet of flowers, intending to thank our homeroom teacher. In the office, the homeroom teacher was chatting with other teachers. Kiki Nam, that girl, she's certainly overcome a lot, hasn't she? Not only did she get accepted, but she also got into a prestigious school. She can easily marry into a good family later. Hey, everyone, do you think she and Ethan Lu could become a couple? You're thinking too much. Just sitting at the same table, Kiki Nam already benefited greatly. Without Ethan Lu, she wouldn't be where she is today. It's only in school that you can meet people from different social classes like that. Once you're out in society, you won't even see each other's faces. I listened quietly to everything, clutching the bouquet, and turned to leave. Every word and sentence still lingered in my mouth, but I didn't know how to refute them. That evening, my phone received a message. Ethan Lu asked me which university I planned to attend. I said I hadn't decided yet. He said he would study at Peking University and asked, "What about you?" I held my breath, my instinct wanting to avoid his next question. "I won't study at Peking University." "Then where will you study?" My mind was in turmoil. I blurted out, "I'm going to Cambridge in England. I sold my house." Not long before, the old house had just been compensated after demolition. 100,000 yuan, I don't have a home anymore. The deep hole had turned into an abyss. He said, "Okay." On the day of enrollment, as I was completing my registration at Peking University, I received an international call. The country code was the United Kingdom. Both sides were silent, only faint breathing could be heard from the other end. He said, "Kiki Nam, you wrote down the wrong university choice, didn't you?" I didn't answer. He continued, "It's okay, I have money. Can I come back to China now? Are you at Peking University? I like Peking University too." I softly closed my eyes. "No." The other end paused, followed by a long silence. "Have you opened that peace amulet yet?" I shook my head, then remembered he couldn't see. "Haven't seen it." "Then can you open it?" It sounded like a plea. "Don't want to see it. Don't dare to see it." He laughed angrily. "Do you really not understand what I'm trying to say?" In that moment, I suddenly wanted to cry. I felt both lucky and heartbroken. "I don't understand." Didn't understand before, don't understand now, won't understand in the future either. His voice was hoarse, each word rasped out. "Kiki Nam, you're really good." My heart wasn't made of wood or stone to be emotionless, it was just choked up, not daring to speak. I opened the room door and stepped out. Outside, it was dim, with only the stars and moon quietly shining down, barely illuminating the path ahead. If I didn't keep going, I would be swallowed by the darkness, and that year I was 18. At the most beautiful moment of my life, I wrestled between inferiority and pride. Arguments aside, anger aside, but the negotiations still went very smoothly. After dinner, Kevin Liu invited me to watch a movie. His dark eyes sparkled, his voice coaxing, "Nuna, last time my dad beat me terribly when I got back. Can you please take pity on me a little?" I cleared my throat twice, feeling a pang of guilt, and was about to nod. "Pity whom? A 70-kilogram grown man like you? Truly, an old melon trying to look green, no shame." In Ethan Liu's eyes, the words, "If you dare agree, your salary will be deducted," were crystal clear. I immediately swallowed my words. His tall shadow blocked me completely, even blocking Kevin Liu. The boy gritted his teeth. "Director Liu, I'm the client here. The contract is signed, you're A, but you're useless. Unless you want to cancel the contract, which means triple compensation." His voice was cold, each word drawn out. The young man's face changed rapidly. Finally, he gritted his teeth and said, "You wait, tomorrow I'll come cry in front of your grandpa's house." Oh, truly a child. Kevin Liu left, and Ethan Liu offered to drive me home. I shook my head and said, "No need, I'm too tired tonight. Dealing with two bosses is more exhausting than working honestly. I don't want to have to keep up a facade on the way home." Unexpectedly, he coldly opened the car door. "Kiki Nam, would you mind looking at what time it is?" 10:00 p.m. "Are you planning to walk home alone? Do you think I have too much money, or are you trying to mess with me? If something happens to you, my 10-year career will also be ruined." Constantly offending the boss, I felt that the day of my dismissal was drawing very near. Since I couldn't escape the fate of unemployment, I might as well seize the opportunity to gather some capital before leaving. I opened my secondary account on WeChat and posted a status. "Free time available. DM for quotes. Nationwide bookings, limited slots." In less than a moment, notifications showed over 99 plus. The people contacting me ranged from hot girls and celebrities to rich young heiresses. Here's the thing, although my boss has a whole basket of flaws, one undeniable advantage is that he's both rich and handsome. Coupled with his eccentric actions, he could be seen as a mudslide among CEOs. Thus, he gained considerable popularity online, almost like a walking, talking, trending topic. In this era where traffic is king, some people wanted to ride on his fame, while others simply adored his face. Occasionally, he'd be secretly photographed, and fabricated stories would turn into dating rumors. Today it was a celebrity, tomorrow a hot girl, the day after, who knows which beautiful heiress. And even if a clarification was issued later, the other party would have already become immensely popular. Ethan Liu is a businessman. He would never let himself suffer a loss. Since he couldn't stop it, he might as well join the game. Creating rumors? Fine, but you have to pay. Don't want to pay? Then please meet Liu Corporation's legal department. They can make your hands tingle. So, every month he earned a significant extra income from this. Where there's demand, there's a market. Where there's buying and selling, there will be intermediaries. One side wants fame, the other is willing to pay. The chain of transactions had formed, only lacking an intermediary to rationalize, clarify, standardize, regulate, and synchronize. Adhering to the principle of win-win, I decided to sacrifice myself and volunteer to be the intermediary. The market plays a decisive role in resource allocation. To maximize market efficiency, I flexibly applied pricing, competition, feedback, and risk mechanisms. For example, different levels of rumors would have different floor prices. Taking a shock as the unit of measurement, each shock costs 10,000 yuan. Dining out, outings, watching movies, leisure activities, a minimum of 50 shocks each. Horse riding, shooting, mountaineering, physical activities, a minimum of 100 shocks due to the rarity of the opportunity. Of course, I never sullied the boss's innocence. Rumors remained rumors, the strength lay in ambiguity. In the online world, fake shares captivated people even more. If clear photos like holding hands while walking were posted, it would lose its appeal. It had to be the type that was, there but not really, vague and suggestive, allowing viewers to imagine for themselves. So I only needed to disclose the boss's schedule, wait for him to leave, and then the other party would come to take pictures, striking suggestive poses at that location. A perfect rumor was born. Of course, everything was based on the boss's work schedule. Limited slots, first come, first served to the highest bidder. If there was anything unsatisfactory, I would assist immediately, guaranteeing customers would spend their money happily. To avoid scheduling conflicts, I even created a shift schedule. I couldn't do all this for free. Intermediaries also had to make a profit. Not much, allowing customers to decide. Give too little, no bookings next time. Give a lot, welcome back. The more money, the higher the benefits. I was about to quit anyway, so I decided to re-emerge into the world. I just didn't expect to go a little overboard, causing the boss's dating rumors to explode on social media, while he himself was busy as a dog. Online, the boss was out playing with beauties. In reality, the boss was entertaining old men. Every day, he ran from one negotiation to another, not even having time to scold people. The entire company rejoiced, only the boss suffered. A world full of pain, only he bore it. Seeing my bank account balance skyrocket, I felt a little guilty and bought the boss a small cake. Palm-sized, 200 yuan. What I was selling wasn't a cake, it was my life. Ethan Liu looked at his schedule for the day, his brows furrowed so tightly they looked like they wanted to squeeze a fly to death. Kiki Nam, is Liu Corporation about to go bankrupt? I stared blankly and shook my head. If it were bankrupt, I would have fled long ago. He took a deep breath. Then explained to me why today I have to fly 2 business trips to 3 cities in a row. I'm the boss, not a donkey. I felt heartbroken, yet spoke with righteous indignation. Precisely because you are the boss, at your age should you choose an easy life? Actually, I don't want this either, but Miss Lee, an actress by paid too much, and they were all fighting for today. Seeing the veins on the boss's forehead about to pop, and his mouth about to unleash a torrent of curses, I quickly unwrapped the cake and shoved a piece into his mouth. Come on, eat the cake, don't get angry. Anger harms the body. Piece after piece, the boss's face gradually brightened, even the wrinkles smoothed out until he finished eating. He could even be called gentle. His fingers lightly tapped the table, a cheerful rhythm. Kiki Nam is making a fortune, or has her conscience awakened? Both. I denied it outwardly, smiling obediently. Not at all, I just suddenly realized I should treat the boss a little better. His eyes gleamed, an eyebrow raised, a faint smile. All right, your schedule will be arranged as you see fit. The boss, having dated 3 girls in 3 different cities in one day, immediately shot to #1 on Hot Search. Netizens called him the new master of time management. That night, he was thoroughly scolded by his parents. His usually gentle mother raised her voice for the first time, almost jumping up and down. "Ethan Lou, you playboy, you're old enough to know better, aren't you?" His father said. "When I was your age, I had a wife and children in bed. What on earth are you doing?" Ethan Lou glanced at me, his voice helpless. "I'm saving money to marry a wife." After hanging up, he sighed. His thick eyebrows obscured his eyes, looking a bit pitiful. "Kiki Nam, I haven't eaten yet." My eyes widened. "Why haven't you eaten? What if you get too hungry? Who pays my salary? I'll extract every penny I can get." I pulled out my phone and fined him 500 yuan. "Next time, remember to eat on time," he said. "Actually, I ate 2 bowls already, I just forgot." I held my phone in front of him. "You ate so much, what about that? Fine, you 1,000 yuan. Next time, remember to control yourself." His gaze at me was truly inexpressible. On a business trip to a nearby city. That city was near the sea, with beautiful scenery and even a duty-free shop. No girl could resist this temptation. Neither could I standing in front of the lipstick display. I flipped through, calculating all kinds of discounts and promotions. "Ethan Lou, don't hesitate, buy them all. How much do I earn to splurge like this? I'm poor. I'll pay. This is a business trip benefit for Lou Corporation employees." My eyes widened, the joy came too suddenly, leaving me stunned. "Why have I never heard of this before?" He patted my shoulder. "Because you've never been the boss before." He spoke so well, I was speechless, so I decided to shop freely. "Boss, you're really kind." He gave a meaningful smile. "How kind exactly?" I muttered to myself. "Any answer I give will lead to trouble." This empty social phrase had existed for centuries, a distilled essence from previous generations. If he took it seriously, wouldn't he want to drive me crazy? I cautiously replied, "Very kind, sir." He shot me a sideways glance. "Fake." Perhaps due to excessive joy, my emotions surged, and my period arrived earlier than expected. I told him to go back to the hotel first, while I stopped at a convenience store to buy a few things. Back at the hotel, I swiped my card into the room, sanitary napkin in hand, and rushed straight to the bathroom. As I opened the door, white steam billowed out. The boss was showering. His bare, glistening buttocks looked quite shapely. The warm yellow light shone down, outlining each firm muscle. Broad shoulders, slender waist, flat stomach. He startled and spun around, our eyes met. He quickly raised a hand to cover his front, revealing his back. My rationality told me to scream, turn around, cover my eyes, and run. But my emotions overwhelmed my rationality. My eyes simply wouldn't close, and my throat was so dry I couldn't utter a sound. I licked my lips, my eyes fixed on him. "Boss, is this also a company benefit?" Knowing there was nothing left to hide, he resolutely squatted on the floor, covering his face, gritting his teeth. "Kiki Nam, you truly are a once-in-a-thousand-years talent. I know you love money, but I didn't know you loved handsome men too. My fault, I hid it too well." I looked too closely, looked too much, causing me to have all sorts of absurd dreams all night. The next morning, on my way to work, I ran into the boss as I stepped out of the elevator. Immediately, I felt uncomfortable all over. "Kiki Nam, Kiki Nam, Kiki Nam." "Yes," I snapped back to reality, seeing the boss's annoyed expression. He gestured with his hand, saying irritably, "I called you 3 times. Sorry, I was a bit distracted just now, sir." "Boss, do you have any instructions?" He cleared his throat softly, clenched his fists, pulled at his lapels, adjusted his jacket, and finally smoothed his hair. "How is it?" I didn't look up, instinctively replying, "Good, very good, sir." The man's voice rang out, mixed with indignation. "At least look at me before you speak." "All right, if I have to look, I will." Just a glance, and in my line of sight appeared a back with glittering, shimmering shadows. "Excellent, truly excellent." "Humph, that swaggering walk is truly oblivious." I followed his retreating back, only then noticing he had changed into a new suit, seemingly one size smaller. The waist was snug, making his backside appear even more shapely. Damn it, I couldn't look anymore. If I looked any longer, I might end up in jail. All morning, I realized I couldn't concentrate. My mood was constantly agitated. Every time I closed my eyes, the 2 words, "curvy butt," popped into my head. Curvy butt. Finally, I decided to switch shifts with the cleaner in front of the CEO's office, took the mop, and cleaned while gazing. Wasn't I fond of gazing at butts? I would let my eyes look until they were thoroughly bored. 3 square meters of floor in front of the door, I mopped it back and forth 50 times and still wasn't satisfied. The tile floor was so shiny it gleamed more than the bald head of the finance department manager. Ethan Lou walked out, just about to open his mouth to scold me when he slipped and fell flat on the ground. I asked. Sir, are you okay? He adjusted his crooked glasses and yelled, Kiki Nam, are you trying to annoy me to death? I quietly retreated 2 steps. It should have been me to fall, but you look like someone on their period. Don't forget who pays your salary. I rushed over on all fours, slipping into a kneel like a football player, patting his chest, my eyes teary. Don't be angry, please, I beg you. This month's salary hadn't been received yet. Ethan Liu had to attend a cocktail party. He dragged me along. Previously, he never participated in such events. Perhaps he was possessed by a spirit today, suddenly taking an interest. He even hired a stylist and a personal makeup artist for me. I pointed to a row of evening gowns. Can I really choose whatever I want? He propped his chin, nodding. Wear whatever you want. Normally, you dress too shabbily. But if I don't dress shabbily, someone will cause trouble. I hesitated. Maybe not. He sat up straight, his face serious. Kiki Nam, I don't think you fully understand my intention. I said you can wear anything you like. That is the equality you deserve within limits. I can protect you. Emotions surged within me. Each word was like a hammer blow, echoing with certainty. I knew having a seductive body wasn't my fault. I knew girls being harassed wasn't my fault. No one had ever treated me this way. Without anyone to back me up, I always protected myself by limiting myself to avoid trouble. A small stone thrown into a calm lake had created surging undercurrents. I walked out of the changing room in a black mermaid dress, revealing my shoulders and bare back. Ethan Liu shyly covered his nose, his face flushed. You're really going to wear this? Isn't it pretty? His voice deepened. It's too pretty. It makes me feel I'm not worthy of you. I chuckled at that remark. Honestly, with my figure, anything I wore looked good. Haha. The cocktail party was lively, full of mingled pretense. I even saw the old man who had once harassed me. He rubbed his potbelly, looking at me with dirty eyes, his tiny eyes shifty and unfriendly. Oh, isn't it Miss Kiki? Long time no see, dressed very alluringly. No matter how long it had been, he was still as contemptible. I shot him a sideways glance, making a cut off your privates gesture in response. His face became even more cunning. He raised his wine glass, intending to approach me. Suddenly, a finger, wrapped in a silk handkerchief, poked hard at his fleshy belly. Stay away. Ethan Liu withdrew his hand, saying coldly, Director Yang, it's best to keep your distance from others. What if you cause a miscarriage? Who would be responsible? He subtly sniffed, then frowned. Director Yang, why do you smell so strong? Or does your bladder connect to your tear ducts, causing urine to leak into your eyes so everyone looks seductive to you? The old man was so angry his face turned beet red, his eyes bulging. CEO Liu, are you doing well these days? Whether I'm doing well or not doesn't affect your turtle face. Do you ever look in a mirror? Ah, right. People without shame, looking in a mirror is useless. Your face looks like a vengeful ghost, and your body is so filthy that even boiling water would struggle to clean it. The old man's face turned red, choked with anger, unable to think of any words to retort. This person's tongue was truly venomous. Ethan Liu patted the old man's potbelly, his eyes full of disdain. A straight gut connects to the brain. If you lose weight, you lose gray matter too. Think about how you'll explain that embezzlement case with your brother-in-law. He pulled me away, walking with powerful strides. It turned out this trip was just to scold people, but it felt incredibly satisfying. Today, the boss and I both took the day off. He asked me where I was going. I replied I was going to sweep graves. He cleared his throat softly. Can I take you there? And also check in on an employee's family. I firmly refused. No way, 50,000 yuan if I go with you. This sentence was about to come out, but I quickly changed my tone. It's not impossible, I guess. At the cemetery, dry leaves covered the tombstones. Every year I came here, not out of remembrance, but simply to show them how good my life was. I even secretly complained in my heart. Then I saw Ethan Liu take a bottle of Maodai from his jacket, pouring it while muttering something. I stood frozen, unable to speak. Do you need to be so dramatic? I've never even lit a single stick of incense for them, and now you bring out alcohol for their grave. I spoke up. They didn't treat me kindly at all. His back stiffened, his hand quickly turned the bottle upside down. He turned to the stone tablet and said, just pretend I was talking nonsense just now. Then he unhesitatingly poured the rest of the alcohol onto the adjacent grave, belonging to who knows whom. As he poured, he muttered, Uncle, have this for now. Those 2 sips were short, go claim them from the next one, okay. This man, usually as cold as ice, had now become strangely foolish and clumsy. I watched his back, unable to look away. A long time later, I gently sighed, the corners of my mouth slowly curving up. Ultimately, I still fell for money and beauty, and he had both. At night, I logged back into the account that had once made me lose face online. I wrote a status. What should I do if I fall for my sworn enemy? The first comment that appeared was, marry him, torment him until dawn. The account name, Pure CEO, Flirty Secretary. In less than a moment, my phone rang. It was a call from Ethan Liu. He said, Kiki Nam, there's an investment opportunity right now. Do you want to participate? Low investment, no risk, extremely high returns. It sounded exactly like a scam. He sneered, I have so much money, why would I need to scam you? So what kind of investment is it? Come down and I'll tell you directly. I looked down through the window. Indeed, his familiar car was parked below my building. I put on a coat and went downstairs, feeling a bit nervous. As soon as I stood in front of him, he said, lend me 100,000 yuan. My heart, which had just been racing, immediately calmed down. It really was a scam. But I still transferred him 100,000 yuan. His eyes flickered briefly, then he immediately put his phone away. If you agree to be my girlfriend, you'll receive 1 million yuan and me too. If you refuse, I'll donate all this money and run away. Think carefully. You really are hateful, so what if we become husband and wife? That's already too much, I haven't even dared to dream about that. How about this, I'll allow you to be that greedy. His eyes immediately lit up, he hugged me tightly. His voice softly said, from now on, you're not allowed to sell me anymore. When did you know? From the very first time. Every time you received money, you were very happy and always invited me to eat delicious food. So that's how it was. Sometimes, being too kind isn't good. When it's necessary to be ruthless, you must be. There was no other choice, I was already 26. An age when the heart is even more easily swayed than at 18. Love came like a powerful wave, too strong, forcing me to surrender. I suddenly remembered that peace amulet. That day, after hanging up the phone, I had opened it to see. Inside was an amulet and a small piece of paper. On the paper, it read, hello, I fell in love with you from the very first hello. I did too. Music fades in.